Okay, the scene set presents itself. The Sports Pavilion, Caesars Palace, Las Vegas, Nevada. Joe Louis, just introduced by ring announcer Chuck Hall. And the fighters have just come into the ring. Ron Lyle at 220, George Foreman at a deceptive 226. I say deceptive because he looks lithe and supple. With me to work this fight, Ken Norton, currently the #1 rated contender for the heavyweight crown. And in the meantime, Ken told you at the top of this telecast that what he wanted to see about George Foreman was whether or not he was mentally settled. No secret about it. Many have felt that Foreman's psyche was materially damaged by the disaster in Zaire of 15 months ago. As for Ron Lyle, question there will be he be able to get to Foreman? And yet, in the long run, many feel if Lyle can survive the first 5 rounds, he is the better bet to win the fight, Foreman's stamina having become suspect in the Zaire affair. Now let's talk about George Foreman. There's been talk of a change in his style since he's gotten the new manager trainer, the veteran and wise Gil Clancy. Can a fighter change his style this late in the game?
I feel that he can change it in the gym, but once he gets into the heat of battle and gets hit, he's very subject to go back to what he knows best.
Okay. We're going to be back. More talk with Ken in just one moment. All right, apparently we have just a few seconds left. And now the commercial is upcoming. Okay, we're back live at ringside, the Sports Pavilion, Caesars Palace. The fight about a minute away. George Foreman, former heavyweight champion, against Ron Lyle. Chuck Hall, the ring announcer, is now making his welcoming speech to a very good crowd, which has virtually filled the Sports Pavilion. Foreman's record, of course, 40 victories, just 1 defeat, the knockout by Ali in the 8th round in Zaire. Lyle with a record of 31. 3-1. He lost a TKO affair to Ali here in Las Vegas last May. Jerry Quarry beat him, and then Jimmy Young unexpectedly beat him in Hawaii. The referee just announced by ring announcer Chuck Hall is Charlie Roth. Remember when Charlie Roth was a light heavyweight contender? He's about 50 years now. That's the introduction of Ron Lyle.
Fighting out of Livermore, California, weighing 226 pounds, introducing George Foreman.
Okay, the ring introductions of the riders finished. Kenny Norton, sitting to my right, will be scoring this fight for us unofficially. We'll be bringing you up to date throughout the course of the fight on Kenny's scoring and, of course, his comments interspersed during the course of the fight. The referee then, Charlie Roth, age 50. Refereed around the Cincinnati and Pittsburgh area for a long number of years. Just look at this. The face of George Foreman and, for that matter, of Ron Lyle, each speaking for itself. Crossroads fight for each fighter. If Foreman is to come back and get another shot at the crown, he must win this fight. And it would help to win it impressively. As for Lyle, well, he couldn't beat Ali. He couldn't beat Quarry. If he's to continue, he'll be 34 years of age shortly. Foreman was just 27. He's got to win. A wild, almost amateurish right as Lyle came charging out. Foreman in the red trunks, Lyle in the white. Lagging his right leg behind him in the manner that Frazier did against Ali in the last 2 fights between those two. The effect of that is really to cut off the ring. Lyle is not a bad boxer, though he has a tendency to let the hand stay too low. as you can see. Fighters feeling each other out. Lyle showing foot movement. George stalking, lagging the back leg, but not yet connecting with a stiff left jab. He tried to get first one in, didn't get it through. The second got in. I must say, Kenny, George appears to be in much better condition than in that abortive thing in Toronto last May against the 5 fighters.
That's very true. He looks very good. He's using a very good jab. Very stiff, very
Lyle got in a good left. George's face went back. Lyle has never been afraid of anybody. He doesn't know the meaning of the word fear. You know the Lyle story. 7.5 years in Colorado State prison. Learned to fight there. And as I told you earlier, fought Ali here last May, and Ali scored an 11th round TKO. A good right by Lyle. A good right by Lyle, and he's got Foreman in trouble. He's got him in trouble. George staggering off the ropes, and Lyle all over him. A surprising trend of events. George looking over here to Gil Clancy, sitting right next to me for instructions. You see George in trouble. A late flurry by Lyle, staggering George, who comes wobbling really back toward his corner. We're not breaking for a commercial. The round not only Ron Lyle's, but the punishment and the damage. Let's look at it in slow motion, Kenny.
Okay, here we go with a very good right hand. Very good right hand by Lyle there. He set him up good with a jab, but he got a little excited at the end and couldn't really take care of him. As I said before, Howard, it shows that Lyle has no fear of Foreman, none at all.
No fear in Ron Lyle at all. Good punching power in either hand. Nothing wrong with Ron Lyle's left. As I said at the very top of the telecast, if Ron Lyle can do any one thing, he can punch. But I don't see any of the old Foreman confidence. The guy who knocked you out in the second round, Kenny. Where is it?
I feel he has the confidence. I feel that this round he must come out fighting and take over. Be very dominant.
The voice of Kenny Norton at ringside with yours truly.
If he isn't dominant, pardon me, Howard, if he isn't dominant this round, then Lyle will get very confident and run away.
Lyle right at him, but again with a wild swing. George trying to move, bouncing on his toes. That's the first time George got in 2 good short left jabs, and that's what he must do. Well, Lyle with a good left. George fighting back now.
Howard, as you can see, Lyle is giving Foreman no respect, and he's pressing the action now.
That could be a mistake, Kenny.
It could be.
George is fighting back now.
He's fighting back, but Lyle's very aggressive there, and he's catching most of the punches with his glove.
See that right come around and land on Foreman. Foreman in the red trunks, Lyle in the white. And the advisors are yelling to Foreman, keep those hands up. Now Lyle is hurt. Now Lyle is hurt. Quickly, Foreman landed a left and a right and another left, and Lyle's in trouble. He's against the ropes trying to cover. Now let's see if George has learned what to do with an opponent against the ropes. Certain it is, he didn't know what to do in Zaire. Look at that left of Foreman's get in there. And it's a different Lyle now. He's a little shaky. The leg's just a little rubbery. Foreman is a tremendous puncher. No question about that. Ken Norton can attest to that. I told you we'd have a slugfest, and that's what we've got.
Very good counter right hand by Lyle there. Very good.
Two active rounds. 2 very active rounds, and the crowd loving it. You heard Kenny say he came back with a good counter right. Lyle did. We'll be back. I want to check the timekeeper here. The official timekeeper is John Worth. George, will you check this? Because by my clock, that round was only 2 minutes. Well, everything happens in fights. We'll find out about it. Now, this fight is being scored on the 5-point must system. Mandatory 8 count. In Nevada, uniquely, they also allow for a standing 8 count, which is what you see in amateur boxing in the discretion of the referee. The fight is scored by 3 judges. The referee has no voice in the scoring. I am advised that our clock was wrong, that the round indeed went 3 minutes. There'll be no saving by the bell. Fighters, by the way, using 8-ounce gloves. New York and California require 10-ounce gloves. 8-ounce gloves, less padding, greater damage from the blows. More punishment, more knockdowns likely.
Howard, if you notice, Ron Lyle's over right hand is working very well on Foreman's left hand. His left hand is down, and Ron's going right over with an overhand right.
By the way, Ken Norton unofficially scored, of course, the first round for Lyle, the second round for George Foreman. I tell you, Kenny, Lyle must be careful. You're right about the use of the right. There it was again, over Foreman's left. But Foreman's jab is beginning to get to Lyle's head, and Foreman's power is so punishing that he can end the fight at any time.
That's very true, but he can't afford to let Foreman really get off. He's got to be more aggressive and kind of force the action. If he gets Foreman punching room and where he can utilize his power, then this is all in Foreman's favor.
Agreed. Lyle in the corner against the ropes.
But then again, Howard, I think Lyle is playing possum here. He's trying to wait for Foreman through a right hand.
Lyle just threw a good right hand, Kenny. Gil Clancy screaming, hook to the body, George. Hook to the body. George just tried to hook to the body in response to Clancy's exhortations, but he didn't get through Lyle's guard.
Howard, Foreman is pawing, looking for the one big shot there, and Lyle's trying to counter.
Less than 20 seconds left in this, the third round. Foreman the red trunks, Lyle the white. Lyle with a very good counter right. The right has been Lyle's best weapon against Foreman thus far in the fight. Approaching the end of the round. We're back for the start of round 4 in what has been a very active fight thus far. The first round, Lyle staggered Foreman. Had him rubbery leg. Foreman retreated. The second round, George coming back fighting. George now looking over to Gil Clancy right next to me. Getting instructions from Gil. If Gil is anything, he's a teacher. Master's degree in recreation. He's been teaching all his life. Whether boxers, kids playing in the playground, or a good right by Lyle. Kenny, you're right. He's been using that right beautifully over Foreman's left.
That is very effective. And Howard, we just found out for sure that the second round was only 2 minutes long.
That's correct. Chet Forty, our producer, retimed the second round in our truck. Lyle all over him. Lyle has Foreman in trouble. Foreman is down. It started with a right, then a left. Foreman looking over here. Lyle to the neutral corner. The mandatory 8 count. Foreman trying to hold together, trying to keep his senses. Lyle putting on a tremendous demonstration. Now trying to move in on Foreman and end it. Remember how invincible George Foreman looked through 40 bouts. The man who knocked out Frazier in the second round to win the title. the man who knocked out Ken Norton, the man next to me in Caracas, Venezuela, in the second round. What's happened to him? Well, in the 15 months since Zaire, he's been relatively inactive, except for that charade in Toronto against the frightful Bod. Now, Foreman fighting back. Oh, Foreman is in trouble. Lyle caught him with a good left. Now, George. Now, George struck back. Now, George fought back with a magnificent right. George fought back. Lyle let himself open for that.
He got overly aggressive there. He was very excited, and Foreman was throwing hard desperation punches.
A minute to go in a wild fight, just as Lyle apparently had George in trouble. George with that punching power that we talked about in prior fights. Lyle is now ready to go against the ropes. About 40 seconds left in the round. Lyle covering up against the ropes. His handler screaming to Foreman, hit him in the body. George at the head. Lyle is now wide open. Lyle trying to swing back. This isn't artistic, but it is slugging the way the public wants it. Lyle now trying to fight back. Only 10 seconds left in the round. Now Foreman was staggered. Foreman was staggered by a Lyle left. Foreman goes down. Foreman goes down. Lyle fights back. Foreman, there's no saving by the bell, but Foreman is up. Foreman is up. What a fight, Kenny.
Well, this is a slugger's fest here. Both men are leaving themselves wide open.
As Kenny said, both fighters leave themselves wide open. Call it over the slow-mo, Kenny.
Here we go right now. Both fighters leaving themselves wide open. They're both relying totally on power here. George is using his strength. He was hurt. He comes back and he staggers Lyle. Foreman goes down here with a very good Lyle punch. They're both working very hard. And they're both utilizing their power and forgetting boxing.
As I said, I would hardly call this an artistic affair, but at the very beginning, we told you we looked for a slugfest. And most people, remembering George's absence of stamina at Zaire, had the feeling if Lyle could get past the 5th round, his chances would materially improve.
That's very true, and Lyle has been known to come on in the later rounds. He's very good, his stamina is very good, his punching power is good. And so now the question is if George can recover and continue on here in the later rounds.
Kenny Norton at ringside with Howard Cosell. 5th round action underway.
Howard, from here on in, I think it's going to be a match of power and a match of stamina. I think Lyle has the mental edge right here.
The two men both seem wary already, and who could blame them the way they've been punching and with the damage they've each been rendering. A good left by Lyle. Foreman holding on.
Here we go, Howard.
Staggering
Foreman
all over the ring. Lyle against the ropes, throwing the left uppercut. Foreman in trouble again. No bounce in the legs.
Foreman's in bad trouble now, and Lyle's trying to execute with hook. And Foreman's hands are down, if you notice, which is very good for Lyle's hook and overhand right.
Foreman looking over here at Clancy for advice, and yet he doesn't even seem to be with it. Kenny made the point that George's hands are down, and so they are. George is falling forward over Lyle, trying to hit back.
This is really a heavyweight fight, Howard. It's total guts here and power.
George got a series of left jabs in there, then a right.
And they both exchange right hands, Howard, right there.
Good right uppercut by Lyle. Foreman again in trouble. You see him falling forward onto Lyle. Now it's Lyle. Now it's Lyle. What an incredible fight. Utterly without boxing skills. just punching away. Each fighter, in turn, leaving himself open.
Both men are really working here. Foreman's using his power, and Lyle's waiting just a little too long. They're both fighting. Foreman. Lyle's got to come back with
Now
one
it's
down.
Lyle down to the canvas. Foreman punching him again and again and again when it looked like George was done. This time it may be over. This time it may be over.
Lyle's not going to make it, Howard. He's not going to make it.
A knockout in the 5th round by George Foreman when it seemed Lyle had command of this ever-changing bout. The ebb and flow of the action almost unbelievable. First one, then the other. Foreman floored twice. Foreman floored twice in the 4th round, coming back to win. And in just a moment, we'll be back. I'm going up into the ring to talk with George Foreman. We're back at ringside with the winner in a 5th round knockout of Ron Lyle, George Foreman, in one of the wildest, most topsy-turvy scraps we have ever seen. A, George, congratulations. B, when you went down for the 2nd time in the 4th round, did you begin to think it was all over for you?
That was all courtesy due to ABC. Being the last time I was on, they said it was not too serious, so this was really a serious bout. I was off, I was rusty, and this is what happened to you when you stay out of boxing. You get knocked down, but I feel I'm a champion at heart. I can always get up and win fights. I think that all credit should be given to Ron Lyle because he's a tremendous individual. He took some hard punches and he gave some.
He sure did. All right, let's take a look at the action and you describe it, George.
Well, I think that right now I'm concentrating on doing with him what he's been doing to me, hitting me with very good punches. And Gil Clancy, every time I look over, he never did lose faith in me. So I thought, well, why should I lose faith? I got knocked down, and I said to myself, this is dirty, low down, low life, good, hard-hitting young man.
He used his right very effectively. Don't you agree, Gil?
Yeah,
Lyle did.
Yes, he did, yes. There's no doubt Ron Lyle's a tremendous fighter, and I think that the picture's nowhere near through with Ron Lyle. He should be back in there fighting for the title, and I think that he can win on a given night also. I'm rusty, but I'm following some advice that was given to me by Kid Rapidash and Gil Clancy. I had a hard fight, and I credit for great conditioning the reason I won, because I've been out for a long time.
Weren't you hurt there by Lyle, Justin?
Well, you know, I'm rusty, and I'm going to be hurt by a lot of things. Even when he slapped me, it hurt. So right now, I'm getting George Foreman together. I'm never going to give up. I'll die before I give up.
That's right, the heart of a lion.
The heart of a lion. The next time I fight, heart of a lion will be written on my robe.
Right there, he seemed to have had you again. I don't really know where you got the reserve strength back to pummel him.
To Kid Rapidash and Gil Clancy, and of course the great years that Dick Sallow spent with me. He put some great ammunition in there also. So the left jab. The left jab is
started to come back. His face snapped back.
The left jab is a throwback to the 1968 Olympics.
Against Deonis Shapulis.
That's right. First introduction to the great Howard Cosell.
Look at that, the left and then the right by Lyle. Gil, you were sitting right next to me, and I heard you say, Gil Clancy, it's all over. You thought it was over for your own fighter, but you never let your fighter know it. True or not true?
Then I turned around to you and said, who's in trouble now? Ron Lyle.
That's right. Here it comes.
Even when I got knocked down, Gil started smiling at us to say, just keep moving to the right. So he's been preaching and fighting.
Now watch, here it comes, George.
Yeah. So I decided no giving up. If I got him going, Bill Cosby had told me earlier, keep going. You don't want to hear none of this stuff.
That was it. That right was the final blow.
There's no substitute for action in the ring, whether you're a piano player or a boxer. You got to have action, and that's a sure display of rust.
Thank you, George, and congratulations. George Foreman. We'll be back to talk with Ron Lyle in just one moment. Back at the Sports Pavilion, Caesars Palace, Las Vegas, Nevada. Another preliminary fight. This time it'll be totally anticlimactic, believe me, about to take place, involving Ronnie Harris, a gold medal winner at Mexico City in '68. Ron Lyle is staying in his dressing room. He's understandably not in the mood to be on the air right now. We'll be back later in the show, before it ends, to recap the incredible action that took place here today and let you see again that 5th round when Lyle apparently had Foreman, but in the end it was George Foreman who had Ron Lyle, knocked him out. Again, we'll be back. Now let's go to Warner Wolf in New York.
Very good, Howard.